Transportation, as defined by the Encyclopedia Britannica, is the movement of goods and persons from place to place and the various means by which such movement is accomplished. And transportation in America today is a joke, on local, national, and international levels. To get anywhere on foot, you essentially need to live in a densely populated area with good pedestrian infrastructure. The same goes for bikes, scooters, or any other form of micromodal transit. To get from city to city, it's almost imperative to have a car, which entails its own slew of nightmares, from insufferable traffic, inevitable accidents, high costs for insurance and gas, and not to mention the global cost of increased emissions and global warming. If you don't own or want to take a car, you're relegated to the old, slow, rickety train systems that connect only a few American cities. To get anywhere internationally, plane travel is the only option, unless you have the days or weeks to be able to travel by boat, and that only goes for coastlines. While there are some improvements in transportation today, especially on the micromodal side with bike, pedestrian, and the new advent of electric scooter infrastructures catching the eyes of many cities nationwide, transportation is moving at a snail's pace. We think that mass transportation can become bigger and better with the advent of new technologies and transportation modes that are already in the works today, ranging from the micro to the macro, local solutions to intercontinental travel. We have the opportunity to completely redesign how persons and goods are moved within and between cities, starting with what we already have and exploring far into the future.
Bus Rapid Transit, or BRT, responds effectively to roadway overcrowding in densely populated cities by providing a dedicated lane for buses. Recent studies indicate a causal relationship between the introduction of BRT infrastructure and increased public transit ridership, even when compared with the presence of conventional bus services. Cities across the United States, North America, and the globe are integrating BRT systems into their public transit infrastructure to alleviate congestion along their most heavily traveled arteries. Micromobility is a recent introduction to urban environments, providing affordable and environmentally friendly alternatives to private automobile travel. These include rentable electric scooters and e-bikes, bicycle sharing systems, and other electric microvehicles. These additions to the mobility infrastructure of cities are functional and innovative, but not yet accessible to most outside of city centers and central business districts. The high-speed rail networks of Europe and Asia have revolutionized continental travel and the future of transportation infrastructure. Japan's Shinkansen high-speed rail service is the world's first, introduced into service in 1964, and has united the economic hubs of Tokyo and Osaka for more than 50 years. And to date, not a single fatal derailment or accident has occurred on the Shinkansen train network, an accomplishment far exceeding the safety record of the aviation industry. Meanwhile, French investors, spurred on by the 1973 OPEC oil crisis and costly regional airlines, developed the TGV. 2 decades after the introduction of Shinkansen, France's disruptive national rail system ushered in a new era of commercial opportunity, connectedness to the metropole, and affordable mobility for Europeans. And these are just 2 examples. High-speed rail networks have been constructed on 4 continents. This includes North America along the Northeast Corridor of the United States, where Amtrak's SAHLI extends from Washington, D.C. to Boston. The demands of high-speed rail infrastructures have posed challenges for American cities and regional transit agencies seeking to build them. To prevent derailment, the tracks must be built at a consistent elevation, which is a complex and expensive feat of engineering, considering North America's varied geology and outdated rail infrastructure. So, current attempts to introduce high-speed rail networks in the United States often fail to deliver or fall flat entirely, mainly due to geographic challenges in the case of Amtrak's SAHLI line, or budgetary and construction setbacks, as with California's bullet train. However, public-private partnerships provide a pathway to fund high-speed rail projects without unnecessary and fiscally irresponsible borrowing. One such partnership, in which Texas Central Partners will privately finance a $16 billion high-speed rail line between Houston and Dallas, is already underway. Innovative financing solutions and evolving engineering techniques promise to transform America's populous, fast-growing urban centers from car dependency to interconnectivity. Magnetic levitation, or maglev, also promises to transform the ways in which Americans and global citizens travel. It is achieved using a method of repulsion in which two polar ends face each other directly. Using this technique on a system-wide scale demands extensive magnetized tracks upon which trains levitate. To ensure that the trains go forward in a straight direction at high speeds, magnetized side barriers would also be installed to prevent the train from repulsing too far to the left or right of the track. Posts would also be installed to create a magnetic field holding the train in place to prevent derailment. Existing maglev technology boasts significant speeds and capability. Shanghai's maglev line, connecting the city center with the airport and outer suburbs of Pudong, is the fastest commercial electric train in the world.
One ocean to be exact. The Atlantic Ocean is the one ocean that separates North America and Europe away from each other, spanning 5,000 kilometers long, mostly traveled by plane, taking 6 hours or more to travel to certain parts. Unfortunately, planes make up 12% of all emissions, increasing the damages global warming has on the Earth. There is a way to make planes have zero emissions. Unfortunately, this process may take up to 15 to 20 years from now, called an Airbus. We don't have the time for that, and it's not going to take any time off of it. The quickest way is a transatlantic tunnel, which is 54,000 prefabricated pieces and 10,000 tethered cables connecting London to North America. This plan can be a multi-year plan and multi-trillion-dollar plan that can save millions of time and millions of dollars. Not only has France and New England tried this process, try and connect two of the most popular cities underground and underwater by making trains and buses and cars have an own path and own way of underneath the city, nobody realizing, not affecting sea life and having electrical wiring running underneath of it, but they also have tried to make this same process of magnetic levitation. Magnetic levitation is a process where not only are magnets pushing up on the bottom of the train, but air is vacuum sealed out of the tunnel, making it so there's no air resistance. In the Hyperloop, they're trying this process where it can take up to 54 minutes to travel from North America to Europe. Without air resistance, this one vessel can travel up to 760 miles per hour. And people inside of this tube have said that they do not feel a thing. When they ran tests, they got it up to 280 miles per hour and are still gradually increasing to this day. This one train, this one piece can change the world. 2,000 locations were globally tried and asked if they would like this. All of them have said that they want to participate in it. Unfortunately, this was narrowed down to 35 participants. And of those 35 participants, 10 of them are being built today in locations known as US, UK, India, Mexico, and Canada. All these locations are starting to soon develop and make Hyperloop the new way of traveling, having carriages, people, and a transporting base. The airlock keeps it so people can breathe and that everything is smooth along the ride.
Technology is evolving at an exponential rate, and there is an endless amount of possibilities for how the future of mobility might look like. According to a Forbes article, economists and researchers predict that private car ownership will drop 80% by 2030 in the US. Advancements in technology and renewable resources will provide new methods of transportation. People are looking towards ride-sharing companies and micromobility methods as their preferred form of travel. Gas-powered vehicles will become a thing of the past. The world is changing, and there is a broad consensus that micromobility is an efficient and sustainable alternative to cars. Bikes, scooters, moving sidewalks, autonomous vehicles, these are all good alternatives that have been implemented in urban areas across the world, but we don't want to stop there. Along with the innovative examples that we have explained in the video, there are much more. Gliding taxis. Traveling by water is one of the earliest and cheapest forms of transportation. A sea bubble created by two French engineers glides across the water to create a smooth form of transportation, reducing congestion in the cities that have access to a major waterway. A sea bubble can hold up to 5 people and can be accessed via docks along a river. This is an all-electric design that would incorporate the use of solar charging stations. Hover bikes. This 250-pound aircraft can reach altitudes of up to 20 feet and fly at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour. These aircrafts take advantage of vertical space and provide possible air travel within urban areas to reduce congestion down below. Jetpacks. Jetman Dubai has reached a major milestone in creating a jet-powered wingsuit capable of flying at speeds of up to 250 miles per hour and altitudes of up to 6,000 feet. Uber Elevate. NASA and Uber have come together to create an aerial ride-sharing vehicle that takes advantage of unused airspace in major cities. Uber is ready to launch its air taxis by 2030 in cities such as Dallas and Los Angeles. Personal submarines. Aston Martin and Triton have teamed up to create a high-end submarine called Project Neptune. These personal submarines can reach depths of up to 3,000 feet and go at speeds of up to 15 miles per hour. Not only do they provide an incredible and an uninterrupted sea diving experience, but transporting people underwater can relieve heavy boat congestion on the water's surface. This provides a whole new dimension to mobility across cities with large waterfronts. Self-driving monorails. SkyTran is a personal rapid transit system that involves pods that are suspended above the ground and can accommodate 2 or 4 people. These pods glide across the rails similar to the maglev system. The pods can go in and out of buildings with a variety of stations spread out across the city. City-to-city rockets. Elon Musk's SpaceX has looked into an intercontinental transportation system involving rockets. A rocket will be able to transport people from New York to Shanghai at speeds of up to 17,000 miles per hour in just under 40 minutes. Being able to travel to different parts of the world in under an hour will revolutionize the economy. These rockets would be reusable, ensuring a sustainable use of energy. Space hotels. The Gateway Foundation is planning to build a spaceport known as the Von Braun Rotating Space Station. This will be the first commercial space project in history. It will include housing spaces, gymnasiums, concert halls, restaurants, and will be able to accommodate 450 people. We went from simply walking, to riding horses, to crossing oceans, to flying across the world, and finally going into outer space. We are pioneers and adventurers. Innovation is increasing rapidly, and we have to make sure to grasp this vision. The future holds many hardships: global warming, rising sea levels, and overpopulation. We as a society must innovate in order to operate at higher levels of efficiency and have an ecological consciousness to combat these future threats. The future is now. Things that we saw as impossible 10 or 20 years ago are becoming a reality. We must keep with this trend and innovate today in order to strive tomorrow, ahead to the future.